Here today for Monday, May 20th goes to Sean Combs. Not just Sean Combs, but the Bad Boy as a staff, record label, and mother effing crew, because y'all been enabling this kind of behavior for a long time. Okay, he's not sorry. He's sorry that video leaked. And he's sorry he got caught. See, up until that video being released, Sean Combs was denying everything. You would still be lying to us right now if it was no video.
I didn't think I was going to ever see a video like this.
I heard abuse whispers. So
really?
I was thinking, yeah.
I heard gay. I'd never heard porn.
I always heard gay.
Gay nonstop. And that was...
Let me tell you, the tea is hot today. Chairman just dropped a bombshell that's going to shake the industry to its core. He's spilling all the dirty details about Diddy's so-called freak-off parties. And chilly, it ain't pretty. We're talking alleged abuse, manipulation, and all kinds of mess that's going to have people's jaws on the floor. The streets are saying this could be the end of Diddy as we know him. His whole empire might come crashing down faster than you can say bad boy for life. But don't worry, I got all the juicy deeds for you. We're about to dive deep into what really went down at these wild parties. And trust me, you're not ready for what you're about to hear. It's about to get real messy up in here.
See a video like this.
I heard abuse whispers. So
Really?
I was thinking, yeah.
I heard gay. I'd never heard porn.
I always heard gay.
Gay nonstop. And that was enough. People were like...
That's because of Wendy Williams.
What'd you say?
Oh,
That was Wendy. Wendy's whole thing was Diddy was gay since the 90s.
She knew, dog.
No, Wendy was
We
throwing
owe
that
Wendy
out
an
there.
apology.
That's why Wendy got fired from Hot 97. Wendy got fired from Hot 97 by Diddy because that's when Bad Boy was smoking hot.
Wow.
And yeah, she got fired for putting that out there. Like,
Do you think that Diddy held on to the gay rumors so that people didn't know what he really was?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Because that's the perfect smokescreen. You'd rather people think you're gay than beat women.
and by the way, here's the wild thing: we still don't know what Diddy is.
I mean, we
That's
know
the thing.
little.
We know little. We know bits and pieces.
Yeah.
This shit might be deeper than rap. We don't know. Like this
The
might be a
rabbit hole's gonna
whole
get
rabbit hole.
crazy.
You might be like, oh shit.
But seeing this video.
That's what I was trying to get at this whole time.
Okay,
That is the wildest story
Yo,
that came out of a lot of this shit. And nobody gives a
Wait, what story? What story?
Pull it up, Mark. I don't even want to repeat it.
Oh.
Pull it up. This shit sounds so crazy.
Nah, this shit wild.
type in his name and Diddy.
But this is why I believe
Reginald
all the
Van
Cassie
Johnson.
allegations because of this video. Because
What video?
she describes this,
Yeah,
what happened
word
to
for
the
word.
T.
Oh,
So
yeah,
now
yeah,
it's like,
yeah.
I believe everything she said.
Yeah,
Yeah.
1000%.
I'm not, yeah.
This is horrifying.
Also, Diddy's bullshit. While you're getting that, Diddy's bullshit ass excuse, like how he couldn't mention Cassie's name in the apology. There's no rule you can't apologize.
Whatever. Oh, I'm not laughing at that.
No, I
I'm
know
laughing
you're
at
not.
this shit. I'm laughing at this shit that Marcus.
Yeah, also, you called her a liar like 3 days ago.
Yeah,
Like,
get the fuck out.
Said she was looking after for a quick buck. You're a fucking scumbag.
And then-
maybe this is more triggering for me because whatever, but like, that shit, I was
Why
like,
is this
kill
triggering
guy.
for you? What
I
happened?
grew up in a house, and I didn't see that ever, but I grew up in a house where there was abuse. So it was like, you watch that, and this is way more extreme than anything I saw. Like, she's trying to sneak out of the fucking room. He's dragging her by the hair.
Yeah.
Not gonna pimp my struggle. I didn't see anything like that. But watching that is like, yo, fuck this guy forever.
Did you ever try to intervene?
Yeah, I did one time.
You got your ass kicked?
No, we didn't do anything. I just stood in his way, and I didn't say a word. I didn't even look at him, which I'm kind of like, I just got in his way, and I remember thinking, if this goes down, this goes down.
Yeah.
That's all I remember.
I remember I was reading Will Smith's book, and he always said he felt bad because he never intervened. So that was like he said he felt like a coward.
Yeah.
You know, he never intervened. Watching his mother go through the abuse from his father. But I think he said his brother did. So it just a lot of that just makes you kind of think about everything that happened, everything that transpired with the slap and all of that. You know what I'm saying? Like after why
I'm gonna stand up for myself finally.
you didn't play the clip.
I'm trying to find
It was right there. I saw it.
Oh,
go back to the one. Go back to the hip hop DX one. This is wild, bro.
I didn't see this shit.
Yeah, this is crazy.
This was wild. Like I'm like, this is how you know too much is going on. This shit is it's wild but hilarious.
Keep it a buck. No, that's not quiet. And I'm those 5 or 6. How many? The first one was the worst one, and then the other ones I left early. Okay, so the worst one was Carl Winslow, I'm guessing? Yeah.
So you busting the door, you didn't hear?
No, because you know how I like to joke and play and stuff. So a nigga don't give a fuck. So I'm just hearing like all this. I'm like, oh, somebody wearing this bitch out on the crib. So I go busting the door. I look up, I see Carl Winslow. I'm like, so like this is crazy. Wow. That's
On crib.
You know,
No,
I think of Carl Will, I think of the cop on somebody that had hit, but you just can't picture that big ass nigga bent over.
Why is that not being talked about more?
Son.
Like, yo,
I used to hear Carl Winslow's gay rumors too, and then when you rewatch, he's a little risky with the acting.
but watching, yo, what type of madman are you? You're watching Family Matters, and you like, yo,
I need that.
I gotta get that. I gotta
Wow.
call Winslow.
Yeah.
Like, what the You're Diddy. You got access to so many people.
But that's your favorite show.
You got to
TV Dad.
get
He likes
Carl
TV Dad.
Winslow.
Now I know y'all are dying to know what happens at these infamous freak-off parties. Let me tell you, it ain't just champagne and fancy outfits. What if I told you some of your fake celebs were getting caught up in situations they never signed up for? Picture this: a lavish mansion in the hills, security tighter than Fort Knox, and a guest list that reads like the Grammys red carpet. That's the scene at one of Diddy's notorious freak-off parties. But don't let the glitz and glamour fool you behind those gilded doors. Things get real dark real quick. These ain't your average Hollywood shindig. We're talking about events where the rich and famous let loose in ways you can't even imagine. But here's the tea: not everyone's there because they want to be word on the street. Is that some celebs felt pressured to show up and participate if they wanted to stay in Diddy's good graces. You know how it goes in this industry. One minute you're on top, the next you're yesterday news. And Diddy, he's got the power to make or break careers faster than you can say bad boy for life. So when he says jump, people ask how high, even if it means jumping into some real sketchy situations. Now I'm not just talking about your run-of-the-mill party games. These freak-off events took things to a whole other level. We're hearing stories about celebs being coerced into wild situations they weren't comfortable with, but what could they do? Say no to the man who could blacklist them from the industry, a snap of his fingers.
You talk about the influence of hip hop. And when it comes to hip hop, of course, many people think of Diddy as one of the pioneers. And at one point, you were not happy that his legacy was being destroyed. Let me play this piece of sound.
I don't know, man. I just don't like it. I mean, I don't like it just because it's sad. Like, you know, how many people's legacies have we watched burn to the ground? You know, from the Russell Simmons, from, you know,
But it's
Diddy.
good.
These guys provided the soundtrack to our lives. They contributed to culture in real ways before we knew any of this. No, you have feelings, you have mixed emotions.
And then the video came out after that. He's now issued his sort of apology. Cassie's come out again. Have your thoughts on that changed?
Well, my thoughts, even in that clip that you just played, in context, I said it's sad to see these people's legacies being destroyed based off, you know, at the time, alleged poor choices. Now we know that those poor choices aren't alleged. We saw the video. So yeah, it still is, you know, sad to see them, you know, not do the work on themselves, have all that unhealed trauma, projecting that pain and that hurt onto a woman. So yeah, he put himself in that situation. And yes, that is still very sad to see. It's sad all across the board. I don't know why we act like, you know, it's just one emotion when it comes to things like this. Because somebody like, you know, Diddy, yeah, we're lying to ourselves if we say he didn't provide the soundtrack to our lives. I don't know him on a personal level. I just know the professional accolades, which were very inspiring to somebody like me. Him having his own record label, him having his own, you know, vodka, like becoming a billionaire. Like those were things that were like, wow, that's the American dream in a lot of ways, right? And to be doing that from hip hop, that was something that was commendable, but we didn't know him as a person.
So are you now angry at him, disappointed in him about the fact this guy you admired so much has turned out to be pretty bad guy?
Angry at him, disappointed in him. I don't know if I know him to be angry at him or disappointed in him. I think what bothers me the most is just constantly seeing people make poor decisions and poor choices that cause them to self-destruct. And I think that even with this situation, one thing that I think we get lost in is the celebrity of it all. I think you have to focus on the issue, not the individual. Whatever happens to him is gonna happen. He's gonna have to deal with the consequences of his actions. And you see it happening now. Like, I don't know if that's gonna lead to him, you know, being arrested or whatever, but the empire is falling. It's over professionally. Only thing he can do is go out there and try to get his soul right. But what about the issue of domestic violence?
Right.
What about the issue of patriarchy? What about the issue of, you know, unhealed trauma inside of people that is causing brothers to, you know, cause that kind of harm the women. Those are the things that we should be talking about, because there's somebody, as I'm talking right now, there's a woman out there probably getting beat up or assaulted, by a man, and her story isn't going to be on the news. And that, culture of men doing those kind of things, committing violence to women, is still going to be going on. We need to be having conversations about that. Yeah, solutions. We know what the problem is, but if we continue just to focus on the individual, we'll get caught up in that. You'll be asking me questions like, so should Peloton be getting rid of Diddy's music? It's like, F Diddy. Like, he's gonna have to deal with the consequence of his actions. But what about everybody else that still has to deal with domestic violence? That's women that still have to deal with the patriarchy, women that still have to deal with, men that have unhealed trauma projecting that onto them. Like, that's what I want to talk about.
Yeah, well, I wasn't going to ask you about Peloton, so. Charlamagne the God, thank you.
Absolutely.
This is the book. It's Get Honest or Die Lying.
Let me paint you a picture. Imagine you're up-and-coming artist, fresh off your first hit. You get that golden ticket invite to one of Diddy's exclusive parties. You show up thinking it's your big break, your chance to network with the cream of the crop. Next thing you know, you're being handed drinks left and right, and people are doing things that would make even the most seasoned party animal blush. But here's where it gets real messy. Some folks were saying these parties weren't just about having a good time. They were about control, power, manipulation. It's like Diddy was collecting dirt on everyone who walked through those doors. And if you didn't play along, well, good luck getting your next single on the radio. One source spilled that at one of these parties, a young singer, let's call her Songbird, found herself in a situation she never saw coming. She thought she was there to perform her new track. Instead, she was pressured into some real compromising positions with industry bigwigs. And get this, there were cameras everywhere talk about a recipe for blackmail, right? But it wasn't just the newbies getting caught up. Even established stars felt the heat. We're hearing whispers about A-star being strong-armed into participating in activities that could ruin their squeaky clean image. It's like everyone who walked into these parties left a piece of their soul at the door. And don't think for a second that all this stayed behind closed doors. Now the effects ripple out into the industry. Careers were made and broken based on what went down at the freak off. You ever wonder why some artists suddenly blew up out of nowhere, or why others disappear without a trace? Now, it might all tie back to what happened at one of Diddy's wild nights. The craziest part, this has been going on for years, and everyone in the industry knew about it. It was like this open secret that nobody dared to talk about until now. That is Charlamagne blowing the lid off. This whole thing is like dropping a bomb in the middle of Hollywood Boulevard.
I'm not sure if you want to answer this, but what are your thoughts on everything going on with Diddy right now?
I think when it comes to that situation, man, I think we shouldn't focus on the individual. We should focus on the issue. Because I think what happens a lot of times is, because of the celebrity, we get lost in talking about the celebrity and not talking about the actual issue. The issue is domestic violence.
Yep,
right. The issue is exactly what I just said about, men not going to do the proper work on themselves, and they're dealing with a lot of pain and a lot of hurt and unhealed trauma, and they're projecting that pain and that hurt on the other people. The issue is patriarchy, right? Because as long as you have a system where men feel superior to women and they're dealing with that pain and they're dealing with that hurt, they're going to project that. We're going to continue to project that onto our women. So I think those are the issues that we should be discussing as opposed to talking about the individual. And we tend to do that a lot as a society. We get lost in the celebrity of things as opposed to, okay, what are we here for?
Because it's clickbait.
Yeah.
It's clickbait.
Like, Diddy brings the engagement, but right now, as I'm talking, there's a woman out there getting beat up by a man, right? And she's not going to get no news coverage. Nobody's going to talk about her.
We should say the name of Cassie, the survivor of the domestic violence.
Yes.
Let's talk more about her.
Absolutely. Let's talk about the issue, Priya. Let's talk about the actual issue and not the individual.
When it comes to us, it doesn't seem to be the thing we think, amplified is the right word.
Hold up though, Charlamagne ain't no saint himself. So why is he risking it all to expose Diddy? The answer might shock you more than the scandal itself. Now let's talk about Charlamagne. This man's been in the game for years, rubbing shoulders with the biggest names in hip-hop. He's seen it all, heard it all, and probably done some stuff he ain't too proud of, but something's changed. Suddenly, he's ready to out off of Diddy's dirty laundry, and people are wondering why. Some folks are saying Charlamagne's got a grudge against Diddy. Maybe Bad Boy did him dirty back in the day, and he's been waiting for the perfect moment to strike back. Others think he's trying to clean up his own image by throwing someone else under the bus. But whatever it is reasons, Charlamagne's spilling tea, that's scalding hot. So was he saying, well, according to Charlamagne, these freak-off parties were like something out of a twisted movie? He's talking about celebrities being forced into compromising situations, blackmail, and even worse, he claims did he use these parties to control people to make sure they do whatever he wanted whenever he wanted. Charlamagne's dropping names. Too, he's talking about singers, rappers, actors, big names that you'd never expect to be caught up in something like this. He's saying some of these celebs were drugged, others were threatened, and all of them were scared of what Diddy might do if they didn't play along.
First and foremost, I just want to say, I know a lot of people want to hear these stories and everything like that, because this is stuff that happened back in the day. And then maybe that if they knew there was going to ever be a YouTube, or they knew there was going to ever be social media, a lot of the stuff probably wouldn't have got played out like it did. But things happen, and these are just stories from the past. I would like to use that as, what you call that, just to clear the facts up what's going on. But it all started, we was in Atlanta. And this story starts when I'm with Puff, and he's in exotic bookstores, and he's doing shopping, right? He's shopping, getting his stuff and everything like that. So, you know, this is the first time I was ever in an exotic bookstore with Puff. So, you know, I'm giving him his space. He's taking things off the shelves and stuff like that, because they gave him a brown paper bag. When they gave him a brown paper bag, he was just putting stuff in there. So I said, damn, you know, he got to go put it on the counter and, you know, show everybody what he's getting. So as he going, I'm just looking at the places where he picking stuff from. So there's one part he picked up some things from up here on my left side. And then he picked like quite a few of them down. I was like, okay. He put them in the bag. So when I went by there and I looked up there, and it said butt plugs. And I was like, hey, yo. I was messing with him. Because people don't understand, you know, we was like friends. He was a part of the same gang. So I'm still gonna tease him. I'm still gonna mess with him and everything like that. I could do that. It wasn't just no security thing. So I say, yo, what are you getting this for? And it said butt plugs, and he was like, yo, can I do my shopping by myself? I said, yeah, you could do it by yourself, brother. And he started walking and everything like that. When he got I just waited at the counter. When he got to the counter, he didn't even have to show the guy nothing. He just gave the guy a wad of money. I mean, like, he gave the guy a stack, something like this. And Puff wasn't the dude that carried no 20s and no 50s and nothing like that. And I mean, like, he just said, boom. And we walked out the store. So we had to leave Atlanta and go to North Carolina for a show. You understand? And it was him, this rapper, Sarah, and this other girl. We all got on a G5 jet, and we flew to G4 jet, and we flew to North Carolina. So later on that, I think that afternoon, same day, this rapper and him, they all in the room together. You know, it's Sarah, the girl, Puff, and this dude, this rapper. So I'm here at the door and stuff like that, like, yeah, so then next thing you know, somebody rang the doorbell. We had the presidential suite where we was at. So I opened the door, and the dude said, yo, I'm here for my cousin. I said, who your cousin? He said, Ja Rule. I said, well, he busy right now. He said, he busy doing what? I said, he with Puff, they're in the room, they busy, they don't want to be bothered. He said, well, I'm going in there. I said, bruh, you ain't going in there, because he told me they don't want nobody to be bothering them. He was like, yo, I don't care, man, I'm going in there. That bull like that. I said, yo, bruh, Jesus Christ had to come down here and take the air out of my body before you get in that room right there. Watch. He tried to bum rush me. I grabbed it and threw him against the piano. When I threw him into the piano, Puff and Ja Rule runs out the room. Puff got his towel, Ja grabbing his towel, but they butt the naked. And so then Ja was like, yo, what's going on? yo, Gene, that's my cousin. He know me well, and Puff was like, yo, Gene, what happened? I said, he tried to get in the room. I told him he couldn't get in the room. And he was like, Puff looked at Ja. He said, yo, Ja said, you ain't want to go in that room because there's a lot of freaky going on. So I was like, oh, he said it was a lot of freaky going on. So that was basically that story, man. You know what I'm saying? They went back in the room, dude felt a certain kind of way, and he left out. So I seen them at the concert the next day, and they tried to, form up against me. But my man Frank was like, I told my man Frank, I was like, yo, Frank, put yourself in that position. Somebody trying to get in the room, and Ja told you don't let nobody get in the room. What would you do? Now, y'all can do whatever y'all want to do, man, but I ain't taking no losses. Yo, you good, and that was it. Bruh, when Ja said, you don't want to come up in there, a lot of freaky stuff is going on. You got to use your mind. What they was doing with those butt plugs.
Right. Yeah,
that was crazy. Yeah, it was real wild.
But here's the thing, Charlamagne ain't just talking. He's saying he's got proof videos, photos, text messages, the kind of evidence that could end careers and maybe even land some people in jail. And he's not just keeping it to himself, word on the street, as he's been talking to lawyers, maybe even the feds. Now you might be thinking, why should we believe Charlamagne? After all, he's been known to stir up drama before. But this time feels different the way he's talking the details. He's sharing it's like he's been carrying this weight for years, and he's finally ready to let it all out. And it's not just Charlamagne. Since he started talking, other people have been coming forward to former assistants, party guests, even some celeb themselves. They're all saying the same thing, that Diddy's parties were a front for some seriously messed up stuff. But here's where it gets real interesting. Charlamagne saying this goes beyond just Diddy. He's hinting that there are other big names in the industry who are in on it too. Weird talking record execs, managers, even some folks you might see on your TV every day. It's like he's pulling back the curtain on the whole damn industry. Of course, Diddy people are denying everything. They're saying Charlamagne's just trying to get attention, that he's making it all up. But if that's true, why are so many other people backing up his story? And why does Charlamagne seem so sure of himself? The craziest part, this might just be the tip of the iceberg. Charlamagne saying he's got more to share, more names to drop, more secrets to spill, and every time he opens his mouth, it seems like the whole industry holds its breath, wondering who's going to be next.
Crazy, but the feds, they also revealed that they got photos and videos of Diddy freak-offs.
When they did that raid, you understand, what they did was, prior to the raid, they reviewed that civil lawsuit. And that civil lawsuit told, Cassie's civil lawsuit was LeRod had already did it. LeRod hadn't did his yet, did he? Did LeRod do his lawsuit before the raid or after the raid?
Oh, before.
Yeah, so what they did was they reviewed both of those civil lawsuits and found that there was some criminal activity in those lawsuits. We spoke that on Art of Dialogue. We spoke about that on your show. I said if they really wanted him, all they had to do was review those civil lawsuits. And once they find the criminal activity in those, they could bring him in. Now, did the Federal Bureau of Investigation in Miami do it? No, they didn't. Did California do it? No, they did not. The Southern District of New York, they took it upon themselves and put on that raid and everything based on the information they found in Cassie lawsuit and the information they found in Little Rod lawsuit. But all this is bigger than Diddy. It's bigger than Diddy, bro. Cause you know who else they was doing investigation on during that whole time period? It was the mayor and the politicians in New York City. They turn around and give him the key to the city. All the mayor people that he brought on here in New York City are all resigning. They all resigning. People ain't gonna tie this together, but if you look at it, you have to say, because of Mayor Adams and his relationship with Diddy, it brought on the Southern District of New York to start investigating Diddy on civil lawsuits that was put against him. Because the feds is going after all these politicians in New York City.
Yeah, the feds revealed that, anybody that, participated in any, criminal behavior at his freak-offs, they're gonna pursue.
Listen here. The mayor here take like 15 spoons of sugar in his coffee. So it's all a possibility.
Do you think there's any celebrities on them tapes?
Bro, he gave celebrity parties. So what you think? I think they're not telling the whole truth, is that because of the situation in Miami and the situation in California, and they closed the clubs like 2 a.m., 3 a.m. or something like that, that Justin and Christian was bringing big vans of girls and people back to the mansion and giving parties and stuff like that. And a lot of those stuff were their parties. A lot of that shit was their parties. They wasn't always Puff parties. It was his son's parties.
Good point. They said some of these freak-offs will last for days.
That's where they're gonna get him on the sex trafficking thing. Especially like if he was traveling and doing it. That's where the sex trafficking come at. That you hiring sex workers to come and have sex with your girl? That's crazy. That's some Hollywood shit that I don't even know, bro. That's crazy.
Yeah, that is crazy. But they also claiming that, Diddy, he'll give ecstasy to his victims to keep them obedient.
Then they have to bring those witnesses in there. That's gonna be something hard to prove. Unless Lil Rob or or Cassie state that was something that happened. That's how the prosecutor's gonna prove that.
You won't believe the name Charlamagne's dropping. We're talking a listers folks who've been in your living room and on your playlist for years, but which beloved celeb is about to have their squeaky clean image shattered? The answer might make you rethink everything you thought you knew about Hollywood's elite. Let's get into it. First up, we got some major players in the music industry. We're talking about artists who've been topping the charts for years. Chairman saying these folks were regulars at Diddy freak-off parties, and not always by choice. Imagine your fave rapper or pop star being forced to do things they ain't comfortable with just to keep their career going. It's messed up, right? But it ain't just musicians, actors, models. Even some reality TV stars are caught up in this mess. Charlamagne's painting a picture of these parties that's like something out of a horror movie. He's talking about A-listers being pressured into wild situations, all while cameras are rolling, and you know what that means, blackmail material. For days now, some of these celebs are trying to get ahead of the story. They're coming out with statements denying everything, saying they never even been to one of Diddy's parties. But Chairman saying he's got receipts, videos, photos, text messages, the kind of evidence that could end careers faster than you can say bad boy for life. One name that keeps coming up, a certain pop princess who's been in the game since she was a kid. Chairman hinting that she was a regular at these parties and not by choice. He's saying that he used her past against her, threatening to expose some dark set secrets if she didn't play along. It's enough to make you look at her squeaky clean image in a whole new light.
They got a ton of evidence that they gotta try to prove, bro. A lot of that that if you read it, it could be circumstantial, you know what I'm saying? But they gotta have witness to back it up. You just can't say that that happened based on somebody lawsuit and what the words that they're saying. They have to have witnesses in there. And I think Puff lawyers is gonna be smart enough to attack that.
Right. And they claiming that Diddy, he was blackmailing his victims because he had videos from old freak-offs and he was using those videos to get his victims to do another freak-off. So,
if he was blackmailing people, especially people that work for him, see, this is what it's gonna get him at. See, people think that, those people work for him, or those people, if they was artists and they worked for him, or they were engineers Are there anybody that work for them and stuff like that? Your boss cannot blackmail you to do nothing. If you do a sexual act or you doing anything, your boss, if he have you doing those things like that, then he could be liable for suit. Because you're not doing it willingly. Because that individual is your boss. So psychologically, you know what I'm saying? I don't care what nobody say, that when somebody has something over you, could determine your job, your career, your livelihood, that's somewhat of a blackmail if they holding stuff that they've done, that you've done in the past, over your head to make you continually doing that stuff. Now, that's where he loses at. Because some of those people work for him, or he was a part of doing something. They was part of doing something for their career with him. That's why he loses that case.
And it ain't just the ladies' chairman saying some of hip-hop's biggest male stars were caught up in this too. We're talking about rappers who act all tough in their music videos, but we're scared to death of what Diddy might do if they didn't show up to these parties. It's like the whole hard image of hip-hop is crumbling right before our eyes. But here's where it gets really wild. Charlamagne's hinting that it ain't just celebs who work involved. He's talking about big-name producers, record label execs, even some folks in politics. It's like these freak-off parties were where the real power moves were made in Hollywood. Some of these celebs are trying to fight back their lawyer gearing up, threatening lawsuits, trying to shut Charlamagne down. But it seems like the more they protest, the more people believe what he's saying. It's like that old saying, where there's smoke, there's fire. And right now, Hollywood's looking like it's about to go up in flame.
And you said that he was going to get arrested in September.
Yeah, man. Anybody who in law enforcement or people know the law, when Homeland Security ran up into his house, people will tell you, or people knew that it was just a matter of time that they was going to indict him and bring him in to see the judge, bro. It was just a matter of time. I just figured out with the grand jury and their different sessions and stuff like that, and then what one of the witnesses told me, I just figured it out that it was going to be around September that they were going to bring him in, bro. People might not understand. It's difficult when you see a brother that has so much promise become an icon as far as in the music business and stuff that he did, to turn around and just tear his whole life down. But it's all because of his mentors and the people that trained him and taught him the music business. You know, it's all about the people who trained and taught him the music business, because Puff wasn't, he wasn't born a monster. You know what I'm saying? He was made into a monster, brother. Do you understand what I'm saying? He was made into a monster from the stuff that happened to him, the things that he had to do. You understand? The things that he had to do to become who he is. You know what I'm saying? You know, it's like this, brother. You never like something so much that you can't do without, and you never be willing to do anything to get where you want to be at. You gotta have principles, you gotta have morals, you gotta keep with that stuff. And in that music business, a lot of that stuff get thrown out the window. You understand? And that's what happened to him. He started doing the things to other people that was done to him. To keep it frank, he was doing the things to other people that was done to him. And it is what it is. You gotta know better. And if you know better, you will do better. When he was in New York City, he was like that gecko from the Geico commercial. Then he turned and started going, when he lived in Cali and Miami, he turned into Godzilla. I would see him talk about how he using drugs. He was never like that. Smoking cigarettes, smoking weed and everything like that. He turned into something that you could consider a monster, bro. Then he started doing things to people, you understand, that he learned. That's the learned behavior, bro. Now, I'm not saying that he may have been doing a couple of things here and there with women, stuff like that in New York, but the things that they're talking about that he was doing, bringing in prostitutes to have sex with his girl and all that stuff like that, that was some crazy stuff to me, man. So I'm just looking at this whole thing, man, and you had asked me, and we don't have these conversations like most people do. We're gonna go back and you're gonna tell me what, we're gonna talk about this. You said, I'm gonna ask you how you feel, bro. I don't want no man to ever go to jail and be leaving their kids behind, be leaving their family behind. You understand? But some dudes belong in jail based on what they do and how they do it. We know that to be true. And it's just this situation, man, when they get down to all the facts and all what happened, he may belong in jail, bro. And that's not my doing. That's not Cassie doing. That's his doing and his learned behavior from the people that mentored him. You gotta realize, man, he learned from Andre Harrell. He learned from Russell Simmons. He learned from Clyde Davis. You understand? When those people are telling you that they were heavy into the drugs, they was heavy into beating women and doing things at that age, at that crazy stage, that's gonna make him think that he could get away with the same thing that they was getting away with back then. You understand? The things that he was saying, you know, the touchy-feely between two men and all that stuff like that, man. All that, he learned that from them dudes. When I told y'all the story, when me and my man went up to Russell Simmons and he had a house and he had a man in bikini drawers in his bedroom, in his bed. You understand? Bruh, this is that he learned. I'm assuming he learned it from them. Let me put that. And I'm not gonna say alleged because I saw that for my own self. My man was with me, Slick was with me, and we saw that for our own self. You understand what I'm saying? So these are behaviors and things that with drugs and all the stuff that's going on, pills, drinking, it can make this man into a monster, and that's what it did, bro. It made him into a monster, bro. I personally feel like he got a lot of the things that he did from his mentor, and then he probably did it to the 10th power. You understand? Russell Simmons admitted that he was a drug abuser. You understand? Russell Simmons admitted that he used to put his hands on women. So, it's a learned behavior, bro. Some of that stuff may be in him through his childhood. Through his childhood, he may have some of that things in him, but a lot of things that he was doing was a learned behavior, bro. You just don't just turn it in a matter of years the way he was doing people, man. You understand? Check this out, bro. He led Biggs to his death. He caused a rift between Wolf and BMF that led to Wolf death. Cussed Wolf mother out. Lied about owing him $300,000. Cause you had asked me how I feel, and I'm gonna get into how I feel. Took a good friend of ours who raised money when he had the City College tragedy. A good friend of ours did things to make him popular in Harlem. Let him hang with us, be part of our crew the whole 9 yards. Disrespected him and wouldn't help him. This is how I feel about him being locked up and going to jail. Some people, their karma is so strong for what they do and what they did The stuff that he did to Craig Mack. You understand what I'm saying? The stuff that he did to Black Rob and all those people in the spiritual world right now. His karma was about to catch up. It was bound to catch up with him. You understand what I'm saying? His karma was bound to catch up with him, brother. So all these things that's going on right now, the learned behavior, what he got from these people who was not living spiritually correct with their behaviors and the things that they've done. He go and transfer and do that to people with the fact of all these people that he's hurt, that always helped him and been on his side and been there for him. What's happening to him now is one of the greatest tragedies that we're gonna ever read about, bro. This is going to be one of the greatest tragedies that Shakespeare couldn't write in Richard. He couldn't write it in Macbeth. He couldn't write this shit in Romeo and Juliet. This is going to be one of the greatest tragedies of hip hop, along with Pac's death, along with Big's death. And he brought it on himself because he knew that he was wrong, and he knew that he learned something that wasn't right. He no different from right and wrong, bro. You have a way to change. You know when something is right and when something is wrong, and you know if you're wrong, you get help. He didn't choose none of that, bro. He chose to be who he is, and now he gonna learn. It ain't no fun when the rabbit got the gun.
This Diddy drama is blowing up faster than a hit single. We've got Charlamagne spilling all the tea about these wild freak-off parties, and it ain't pretty celebs being forced into crazy situations. Blackmail and power plays it's like a Hollywood horror movie come to light now. Everyone's wondering what's going to happen to Diddy. The streets are saying he might face some serious legal trouble. We're talking lawsuits, investigations, maybe even criminal charges, and his career, it might be over faster than you can say bad boy for life. But here's the real question, is this going to change how the music industry parties? Are we going to see the end of these wilds, no rules bashes, or is this just going to push everything even further underground? Only time will tell, but one thing's for sure, the party ain't over yet.